Hello, Pewter people. Scott Reynolds here with another Pewter Pulse. After seeing Mike Evans injure his hamstring again and Chris Godwin suffer a season-ending ankle injury, Bucs fans are panicking right now. Why aren't the Bucs making a trade for a big-name wide receiver like Cooper Kupp? And why isn't Tampa Bay considering trading for an elite pass rusher like Myles Garrett? Why isn't Jason Licht helping this team? I'll answer all those questions. But first, your reminder to hit the thumbs up button, give us a like, also leave a comment. And doing those two things helps us with the YouTube algorithm, helps us get in front of more awesome Bucs fans like you. So today's Pewter Pulse, why isn't Jason Licht doing his job and helping this team? First of all, Jason Licht is doing his job. Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make. And sometimes the best moves in free agency are the players you don't sign. New Orleans pass rusher Chase Young, a high-profile free agent signing this offseason, has 1.5 sacks this year and has a Pro Football Focus pass rush grade of 58.6. That's slightly higher than Atlanta pass rusher Matthew Judon, age 32, who has a pass rush grade of 58, and he also has 1.5 sacks. Did you know that Bucs backup outside linebacker Anthony Nelson actually has 2 sacks this season and a Pro Football Focus pass rush grade of 65.3, higher than both Young and Judon? The Falcons traded away a third-round pick for Judon before the season started, and at 32, he's clearly lost a step. Rookie Chris Braswell has more promise and upside than Judon does. Young, the former first overall pick, signed a 1-year deal worth $12.53 million with the Saints this offseason. That's a bigger cap number than Yaya Diaby, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Anthony Nelson, and Chris Braswell combined. Okay, so why doesn't Licht trade for a proven Pro Bowl pass rusher like Myles Garrett to help Todd Bowles' defense then? Well, Garrett turns 29 in December and has 2.5 years left on a current deal that pays him an average of $25 million per year. Licht traded for Jason Pierre-Paul when he was 29, so maybe this makes more sense, right? Well, the Browns will want at least a first-round pick, if not a first and second rounder as compensation. And JPP was acquired for just a third-round pick in 2018. That's the kind of deal that Jason Licht likes to make. And the problem in Tampa Bay is the loose, soft zone coverage that Todd Bowles is playing right now. It's the kind of soft zone defense that allowed Atlanta's Kirk Cousins to shred the defense for 509 passing yards and 4 touchdowns back in week 5. Lamar Jackson just completed 77% of his passes on Monday night and threw for 5 touchdowns. The Bucs only had 1 pass breakup against the Ravens. That says it all. Tampa Bay is not playing tight coverage. The problem isn't the pass rush, it's the coverage. The Bucs have a very good pass rusher in Yaya Diaby, who has 28 total pressures this year, including 2 sacks. Do you know how many pressures Myles Garrett has? 1 less, 27. In addition, he's got 4 sacks. Diaby's having a hard time getting to the quarterback because Denver coach Sean Payton provided the blueprint on how to beat Todd Bowles' defense in a Week 3 win over Tampa Bay. Throw quick passes against that soft zone coverage and screen the Bucs to death. The Bucs edge rushers like Diaby barely have time to get to the quarterback as a result. The ball's getting out simply too fast. And that's why defensive tackles like Logan Hall and Vita Vea and blitzing inside linebacker Levante David lead the Bucs with 3 sacks apiece. They're closer to the quarterback by nature by where they line up. Unless Bowles fixes his coverage scheme, it doesn't matter who the Bucs line up at outside linebacker. That's not a Jason Licht problem. That's a Todd Bowles problem. Okay, let's talk about wide receivers. Why isn't Licht going to trade for one? Especially prior to the Falcons game, which is kind of a must-win game with the Falcons having a 3-0 lead in the NFC South standings. Look at Davante Adams, for example. He gets traded to the Jets to play with the quarterback he's played for years, and Aaron Rodgers, and Adams had virtually no immediate impact in his first Jets game, which was a blowout loss to Pittsburgh. There's no receiver that could come in the week of the Falcons game, learn Liam Cohen's offense well enough to help Tampa Bay beat Atlanta. Will the Rams trade Cooper Kupp? The Bucs aren't interested if they are. The supposed asking price is a second-round pick for a 32-year-old receiver who's missed 18 games over the past 3 years due to injury, including 5 this season. Do you think Jason Licht is willing to trade for a receiver who's actually older than 31-year-old Mike Evans and is making nearly $27 million per year? And if the Rams thought Kupp was an elite player, they wouldn't trade him. Same with the 32-year-old DeAndre Hopkins, who just got traded from Tennessee to Kansas City for a conditional 4th-round pick. Hopkins is in the final year of his contract. So unless the Chiefs re-sign him next year at age 33, this is just a half-year rental. Jason Licht values his draft picks too much to rent an aging player like Hopkins, who may be the second coming of Antonio Brown, a guy that still had something left in the tank when he signed with the Bucs in 2020, or he may be well past his prime like Julio Jones was when he was signed by Tampa Bay in 2022. If Kupp or Hopkins were in their late 20s rather than their early 30s, it might be a different story. Several key Bucs players have been drafted in the 4th round, including Bucky Irving, Cade Otton, Anthony Nelson, and even a couple of 5th-rounders have been incredibly valuable, like Servassier Dennis and Zion McCollum. We can go down the list of the 2nd-round picks you'd have to give up for Cooper Kupp. I mean, Luke Gedeke, Antoine Winfield Jr., et cetera, right? Licht has to think long-term with the Bucs roster as a general manager and not mortgage the future to get a receiver that may or may not help the Bucs. And right now, the bigger problem in Tampa Bay is the awful play of the defense, not the loss of Chris Godwin or Mike Evans, believe it or not. Remember, the Bucs scored 30 points and still lost to the Falcons. They just scored 31 points and still lost to the Ravens. The Bucs will get Raheem Jarrett back this week, and he'll team up with Trey Palmer and Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan and Ryan Miller. I know that group does not do much to excite you, nor does it probably do much to scare the Falcons secondary. But Mike Evans will be back in a few weeks after the bye week, and Cameron Johnson should be back up injured reserve by then as well. So help is on the way. In the meantime, Liam Cohen just needs to get creative on offense. Implore Baker Mayfield to stop throwing those second-quarter interceptions and lean on the Bucs' newfound success in the running game. But until Todd Bowles gets KJ Britt, who's a liability in pass coverage, off the field and stops playing so much zone coverage, no amount of new players are going to help Tampa Bay. Remember, the Bucs lost to the Falcons the first time because of their defense. Both Chris and Mike played in that game back in Week 5. Bucs fans, we invite you to subscribe to Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. We have over 16,000 awesome Pewter people who've already done so. You can find my Pewter Pulse videos, our Pewter Report podcast, the Pewter Pregame Show, and the Pewter Game Day shows, all at Pewter Report TV. Make sure you follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report, and visit pewterreport.com for the latest breaking news, game coverage, injury reports, and inside scoop. And I'll be back soon with a new Pewter Pulse.